and we today's date is 8th of September 2021, and here we are starting our second lecture on artificial intelligence, knowledge representation, and reasoning. Okay. So, um, so let me share my desktop with you. So, in artificial intelligence, we must have to go through the first unit, which start with history, and then it can talk on the Turing test. Okay, so let's start with the history first, and then we'll go for Turing test. So, what is Turing test, and what it have on the thing. So, first, let's see the syllabus in detail. So here in first unit we are having introduction, that is overview and historical perspective of the artificial intelligence, how it started and other things, and then we are going to see the Turing test. Total 6 lectures are given to the first unit, and we are going to see these things in a bit detail, even the history also, because without knowing the history of any stream, whether it is a theoretical stream or whether it is a computational or applied science thing, we require to know the history of that particular subject. Okay. So let's see what is the history of the thing. Is all started in, if you recall the history of computer science and engineering, that is how computers started, and likewise then they told you many times that Charles Babbage started computer engineering thing. He is considered as the grandfather of computer science and engineering, and started what you can say device or invented his first computer machine, which was able to do some addition, a plus b. So that is what, that is the first instance of introducing some type of intelligence to machine, because addition is a type of operation only human being can do. But artificial intelligence is not actually started with Charles Babbage. It is go very dead back. So even before the Charles Babbage, there were pure mathematicians and philosophers who were thinking on the artificial intelligence. Okay, and what is the artificial intelligence? To make machines imitate the behavior of human beings. Okay, or to make machine able to think like a human being. These are the two different aspects of artificial intelligence in here, and we must have to point it out. That is what these two different aspects of the artificial intelligence is. Okay, so the first thing that we should and must what you can say see in this artificial intelligence thing is in history, that is in around 1941. In 1941, the first recorded paper or first recorded discussion of artificial intelligence is there. Okay, prior to that, there are many discussions there, which was date backs to literally to what you can say the time of Aristotle or Socrates, or even you can call as the time of our Rishi Munis, where they have given some philosophy to saying that the substances or the non or what you can say the material world can have the intelligence, and we can use that to the thing For example, Russian scientists and even the Indian scientists they say that water will literally have the memory. Okay, so it memorizes the thing and likewise, and it has its intelligence of its own. So, and to that they given an experiment of pouring water on land where the water go on. So, what can I say? Searching for a particular type of path. For example, let's say suppose if we are having such type of plane here, okay, and in this plane you are having some type of hurdles uh, on the plane or on that particular surface, and if you pour the water, okay, here you are having this, okay, hurdle on the surface. It's gone. uh, just a minute, I have to open the oxygenator. Some problem happened with it. So when you are having this surface water and if you pour water on a surface, just imagine what happens. Water start flowing in a different direction, but if any hurdle comes it starts spreading, and as soon as it get a pass out it goes through that pass out, and when it goes to through that pass out it automatically, what can I say, uh, when it goes to that particular lane, pass out lane, it automatically start uh, uh, finding its way. And finding its way is something what we can call as the uh, way of intelligence. Means, say suppose if you lost your say way, or you if you lost your what you can say something, something what we go on searching for the things, and likewise. So when we say this is an history artificial intelligence, they say that matter can have this type of intelligence to identify. So water is doing this on its own, finding his way out from the particular block. Water is doing this on its own. So water is not actually trying to find this way, but is doing naturally because it is in a liquid form. So what they have suggested that if we make it autonomous, so that even if it is in a some form, it can imitate the human behavior, or it can go through human, like means work like just like the human thing, then it's easy for us to direct the thing. So the simple analogy they use to say that water is intelligent, they say that just consider irregular surface which is having certain type of hurdles here, let's say suppose certain types of hurdles, and if you pour some water here, if you pour some water here, this water will flow in this direction and in this direction to avoid this hurdle, and will find out its way, and find out its way, okay, by avoiding the particular hurdle. So what this is the intelligence of material. This is quite philosophical, you won't get it in a first you can say instant, but this is the one thing. So the mathematicians started thinking on it, and then in 1941 uh, it was the first documented evidence of artificial intelligence is there. So around 1951 something, Sir Alan Turing, the renowned mathematician of the world, who actually designed and put forth the idea of possible computational machineries, and he actually started working since 1940 something. So 41 he got the inspiration and he worked on it and come up with the different automata design, and likewise he said that is it possible to have a machinery, is it possible to have machinery which can imitate the behavior of human being, or which can think like a human being. Okay, which can think like a human being. So these are the two different things, imitation and thinking. These are the completely two different things. Imitation requires minimal intelligence, or what you can say primary intelligence, while the thinking require advanced intelligence. So for example, when we are a child, small child, हम जब छोटे बच्चे होते हैं, okay, so what generally we do, we imitate our elders. हम हमारे जो बड़े लोग होते हैं ना घर में, उनको हम imitate करते हैं. Means if someone is eating by hand, we start try to eat by hand. We try to imitate our parents, we try to imitate our friends. Even sometimes what happens when you listen to somebody, right now you are listening to me, and some people may like the way of my what you can say lectures giving, and likewise, and then they start imitating that style in their lectures or in their conversation. So this imitation is require minimal intelligence. It is called as an observation. But again, when we say this imitation requires high capacity memory. Okay, because you need to remember exactly. Need to remember exactly the way of the object or the subject which you want to imitate. Means, let's say, suppose you want to imitate the say what we call as say some actor or something, or you simply want to imitate some type of situation. Okay, situational response means say suppose some accident happen. Okay, and if someone go very sad, and now actual accident is not happen, but you want to act it, you require to imitate all those things. So the acting is one type of imitation of the reality. So generally the imitation is a bit loud, and it is sometimes clumsy, and likewise. So where this imitation comes in computer science, in computer engineering, okay, or in machines, or like mechanical engineering, or in structures like civil engineering, okay, or say like something which is of no thing, means what you can say of, you can't say directly that is imitation is possible here. Okay, but there are these technologies are there which then the other scientists than mathematical field started to think on the different theories and philosophies put forth by Alan Turing and other mathematicians at that time. This was around 1941 50. Okay, so for these 10 years, many people have given thought to it, and they come up with a different type of machineries, and likewise, for example, when we have what we can say, what is intelligence first? Artificial intelligence is something whatever the human is doing. Okay, if the same thing can be done by the non-human thing, and specifically by the machinery, we call it as a artificial intelligence. For example, let's say suppose a door is there. Okay, we are not talking about any very high-fi advanced computational door. We are simply talking about, hello, मी लेक्चर मध्ये आहे. ठीक, ओके. थोड्या वेळानं होऊन जाईल जॉईन, बघ करू. हां, ठीक. So if you go on doing this thing, okay, first thing is that some students, some friends of your calling that they are not getting the joining. Actually, I created two different links. One is for artificial intelligence, knowledge representations, reasoning, and one is for software engineering and project management. Okay, so this link AIKR is different from software. That link is not started. So if you are trying to attend the lecture using the software engineering project management link, you may not get entry because it is yet not started. It's on tomorrow. Okay, and that is also created to keep the records separate and what you can say distinguish. nothing else. From the same link we can conduct the lectures, but in that case the thing may happen that I will not get whether the attendance is for AIKR or whether the attendance is for software engineering and project management. Okay, so if someone is not getting a login into this system, your friend, just ask them to use the link for artificial intelligence, knowledge representation, and reasoning link of the WebEx. Now, back to our subject. So, what is this theory? Said the mathematicians said that it is possible to devise a machine. Okay, now, when we say it is possible to devise a machine which can imitate the human being or which can think like a human, for example, in yesterday's lecture, we have seen that their knowledge is something like we have the data first. For example, if I say here one, okay, sorry, and then we are having this two, then we are having this three. This is data only. One, two, three. We are not getting any meaning to it. So what we do, we label it as a serial number, or let's consider this as a roll call. So what we have done, we set this as a serial number. Serial number becomes what? The information. So when data is labeled, that label is generally considered as the information. But this information is also not the knowledge. This information is also not the knowledge, and so what happens, we generally can't help or can go through the entire say just using the information. So artificial intelligence require knowledge is actually the superfine thing where we have certain type of what you can say reasoning logic attached, and this reasoning or logic uses the information. This reasoning or logic uses the information. For example, if I say that serial number is, this is a simple text. Okay. Serial number is the mechanism to orderly put data. Okay, to orderly put data. So this can consider as a metadata of some data. So now if when you are having say data here, if I have say data and if we write here ASR is a data. Okay, let's say XYZ you write as a data. If you write something else is a data. But as soon as I put a label here, I know if you put the label name, I know that this is the information. Okay, so when this together we know that there is a relation, that is serial number 1 represents this data. We call this as a relational database system, and likewise in the same thing knowledge has certain type of reasoning and representation. Now when we say imitation actually simply up to this serial number and name, it won't have any reasoning, means imitations won't think. Actually imitations simply copy. So what this imitation require, a large number very large memory. Okay, but when it comes to think, what happens, it's a processing type of way. So if even if you are having say 1 terabyte of such data, such information, where you are having the serial numbers, let's consider there is a serial number from 1 to 130 crore all Indians. Okay, name of all Indians, all that they are number 1 to number 138 crore. So what you are having a complete serial and the information. But now what is knowledge? Now you want to know from these 130 crore all the people who are having resemblance with the initial, consider ASR. Okay, we are not considering the full name, only the initials. Like so, when we put that query is what a formula, and that formula query is what nothing but the thinking process. So what this thinking do? This start searching in the information, and it's know. Now it know that in the given 138 crore, consider that the K people, consider these K people are 32 or 33 crore, which are having the resemblance with the initial ASR. Okay, some may be writing it as a RSA, some may be writing it as a SA, some may be writing as a ASR, some may be writing. But these three letters are common in their initials. So consider 33 crore such what you can say people are there. So now what is the thing we know? So this is a knowledge. So when we say we know, now let's consider you are having a machine which instead of writing query every time, you simply ask this machine that dear machine give me all the vendors of particular thing from this 133 crores. Okay, so machine itself will try to find out these things, and it will go on checking with your words. Okay, so if you say vendors for say bicycle. Okay, so consider this, the machine will do what? Machine will check in 130 crores how many vendors are there. Okay, let's consider K vendors are there. K means consider for 60 crore vendors are there. Out of these 60 crores, how many are actually the vendors of bicycles? Let's consider these are only 6 crore. Out of these 6 crores vendors, which are near to your home, okay, that is within the vicinity. So let's consider out of these 6 crore, there are only 30 such vendors. So out of 130 crore data set, it go on doing this. So when this go on doing this, it puts query after query, query after query. So what this is the process. For example, let's say suppose you want to do something. Say I want to know about the flower, a particular flower of a particular tree. Then what will say, okay, this is the flower of a tree. So what is the structure of this flower? I will go on, this is my first query. Then I will say, okay, this is the structure of flower. Okay, so what is the function of each part of this structure, and go on. So I go on putting these three, what we can say, questions, and search for the answers myself. This is called as a thinking. हम जब सोचते हैं तो क्या करते हैं, किसी एक चीज को लेते हैं, वी गो ऑन वर्किंग ऑन दैट. Okay, we go on working on that. We put the questions, means the queries to it. Now what you have done, you have simply put simple what you can say query to the machine. Okay, best example right now, everybody of you are familiar with such type of thing, which is can be called as a little bit of thinking. It is not like a human being, but it still imitates the way of what you can say working of our brain. So when we say this is a imitation, for example, when you ask Alexa, okay, Alexa play this song for me. So what you are thinking, Alexa is dedicated to you? No. Alexa is a complete software, a complete inference engine, okay, which actually search through the tremendous amount of information, and then it know that you with a particular address, IP address, what we always ask this type of questions. So they put a small what you can say searching string. मतलब जैसे आप अगर किसी के घर जाते हो, समझो आप यू स्टे देयर फॉर 1 वीक एज अ गेस्ट. आपने पहले दिन उनको बोला, उन्होंने बोला कि सर कप ऑफ टी, एंड यू से नो नो आई डोंट लाइक टी. ओके, तो दे विल से कॉफी, विल से ओके बट ब्लैक. Okay, you don't want something like say milk coffee, you want only black coffee. Now what happens, the lady in that house, or the what you can say your host in a house, a gents, whoever serving that thing, will register this thing somewhere, and next time they won't require to ask it. The process become autonomous. So next time, next morning when you wake up, they know the guest won't like the tea, guest like the coffee, and it should have to be black. You won't require to put the query one more and more. So what becomes, this behavior become autonomous. So this is intelligence, knowing thing and then repeating thing. This is called as heuristic knowledge. Once we know from our past experience, we are trying to give in a future the responses. So what this happening here. So when you ask for a bicycle vendor, हम जब किसी साइकिल बेचने वाले के बारे में पूछते हैं, जैसे जब आप गूगल मैप ओपन करके पूछते हो कि नियरेस्ट स्टोर्स दो, तो गूगल मैप को फर्स्ट क्वेरी जाती है कि ये इट हाउ टू फाइंड आउट सच टाइप ऑफ स्टोर, ओके, फ्रॉम दिस लोकेशन। और जो नियरेस्ट का जो ये है रेडाई है, दैट इज जनरली कंसिडर्ड एज 100 किलोमीटर। Okay, you can reduce it to more minute and something. So within 2 hours journey, if anything is there, Google map will show that shop to you. Yes. So what this happening, this is the imitation of thinking process. It is not the programming. Why it is not programming? Actual programming is not done here, but instead data is only analyzed by certain type of programs. And when this data is analyzed, when data is at center, okay, data is at center, there is actually no particular rule is there. We are registering our past rules, and based on that past rules and outcomes, we are trying to identify the new things. What we call this entire process of machine as machine learning, where machine is actually trying to learn the patterns, okay, and that is what called as a imitation. That is what the imitation. So Alan Turing in 1941, when there was no actual computer or other electronics and other technologies were it what you can say design and develop to its what you can say better capacity. They were still in infancy at that time. He put this theory and he said that it is possible, is it possible to have such type of machineries who can imitate the human behavior, or who can think like a human behavior. For example, when you have pen in your hand and you write something, what you are doing on paper, you are actually printing. The same thing is imitated, same thing is imitated by printer, but printer is not considered as an intelligent device. Why? Because it is unable to think like us. अभी thinking का process of this, some let's consider that you are given with a tray. Okay, once again, I like food very much. So I generally go when it's go to give such type of examples, the food example. आपके पास एक tray है, आपके friend आपके घर आए हुए हैं, your friends are there in at your home, and you want to serve them. And in a tray, you are having all what you can say the say some teacups are there, some coffee cups are there, then you are having some milkshakes, and then you are having some fruit shakes, and likewise, and now you are there. Now you have to serve them. You want to serve them. So how, what strategy you will use? Obviously you will serve them using certain type of strategy, first in first out, last in first out, like that. Or what you can say on a priority basis. Priority basis means whoever nearer to you, you will try to serve him or her first, and whoever farther from you, you will either pass that, or you will serve him at last, okay, or her at last. So you actually decide this strategy by observing, the things. Now just consider in the same way a printer is given with a n number of files to print. What the printer will do? Printer will do nothing. It will simply put that files in a spool with a serial number. First file get printed first, second will be printed second, third will be printed third. It will not consider the priority or any other things for this. So it is a dumb device. It have no intelligence or thinking power, but it can imitate the human behavior. Just like human, it can write. Just like human, it can draw the pictures and everything. Okay, but at a finer terms. So when we say imitation intelligence, this mathematical thinking and philosophy given rise to the invention of computing machineries, which can make machines capable to imitate or think like a human. Okay, capable to imitate the human being, behavior of the human being, or think like a human. And so That is very what you can say the thing in the history of artificial intelligence. If you go to the Wikipedia page of the history of artificial intelligence, means if you type on your Google and if you say history of artificial intelligence, okay, you will get complete information there. There you will also get many other links to go through the history, and you can cross check the validity of all those things. But thing is that the artificial intelligence actually started historically in 1941, first documented what you can say proof. Prior to that there are proofs, but that can't be considered as directly technological or scientific proof, because they are either from the folk stories or they may be from some type of you can say imagination, and likewise. So in 1951 something, Alan Turing published his first paper on this machine intelligence, and in that machine intelligence paper he have put the first question, that is it possible or is it imaginable to have such a machine which can imitate human behavior or which can think like a human behavior. And then he go on what you can say defending and cutting his own hypothesis in his complete paper. He got scolded for the things, he got appreciated for the things, but it started a completely new era of mathematics, okay, what we call as applied mathematics, which actually what you can say help many engineers at that time, okay, engineers at that time to make their machines to imitate certain type of human behavior. So they started doing this, and then it come up with some automated machines like say sewing machine. स्विंग मशीन आपके कपड़े सिलाई जो होती है, ओके, दे actually imitate the human behavior of sewing, but they are not having the intelligence, they are it not programmable, okay, at that time. Then come the programmable machineries, likewise washing machine, what it imitates the behavior. So artificial intelligence is something not from the fairy tale, okay. What is this washing machine? It imitates the behavior of human being of clothes washing. Okay, that behavior was there. But now let's consider that machine is given with an intelligence. Okay, so machine can think. आपने machine के अंदर कपड़े डाल दिए हैं, तो machine have some sensors, some water resistive cameras which will check the color of clothes, okay, and it will also check whether the clothes are having what you can say fixed color or it's losing some color in water. If it is losing some color in water, it will pour more water into the color in the machine tray, so that the other clothes which are not having that particular color won't get affected by this loosened color. It will add particular type of soda and something, it will observe using the sensors where there is more dust or more dirt on the clothes, and it will rub it, okay, likewise, and something, or it will use more washing for that clothes and something. So this if machine is doing on its own. Okay, so we are having first manual washing machine, then we come up with the semi-automatic washing machine. Now we are having the automatic washing machine. But all these washing machines were manual washing machine means वो पुराने जमाने में हाथ में एक लकड़ी का ये रहता था, दैट इज मैनुअल वॉशिंग मशीन. हम हाथ से कपड़े धो सकते हैं मगर उससे ज़्यादा अच्छी तरह से नहीं धोया जाता है. सो वी क्रिएटेड अ मशीन एंड दैट मशीन वाज द मुदगड़. ओके, उससे कपड़े धोने लगे. देन they come up with the washing machine. Now they have the semi-automatic. Now we have the automatic washing machine. But all these machines are only imitating the human behavior. This happens due to the theory put forth by Alan Turing and other mathematicians. Alan Turing was the leader in such type of theories. Okay, so this imitate. Now if we add some intelligence, a thinking power into the washing machine, ओके, मतलब अब वॉशिंग मशीन के सामने एक छोटा सा बच्चा गया है, से a toddler or say a 3 or 4 year old baby in a home goes near to the washing machine, okay, and washing machine will look at that particular what you can say operator or the user, उसको एक कैमरा है वॉशिंग मशीन को, उस कैमरा से वो लुक करेगा एंड कैमरा विल पिक्चर द यूजर एंड देन the processing unit, a small embedded technology, will check whether the user who is trying to operate the machine is the registered user or not. Registered means mother, father, or young people like this. Okay, it will say, okay, this is a small field, it is not registered, it is not given with the operative rights. So it will not accept any trigger input from that particular user. What happened here? The washing machine got the thinking power. What happened? The washing machine got the thinking power. It can think, but how it can think? It need to observe that particular thing. That is a what we can say the operator. Then the data is registered. You have to do the comparison. Based on that, it will turn on the circuit or turn off the circuit. Okay, so this is what we call as a thinking power. So when we say artificial intelligence, actually we are talking about electronics, telecommunication, computer, IT, mechanical, civil, medical, you just name the branch and artificial intelligence exists there. Okay, so this is a thing. So imitation and so what happened in 1951 due to Alan Turing's this thing and other thing and this some advancement in machineries, and likewise the many governments, especially the US government, got very excited and they pour a lot of money into this artificial intelligence technology stuff. But what happens, because mathematicians were quite theoretical, they come up with all the theories, all the mathematical models, everything, but almost none of them come up with a good thinking machine, a machine which can naturally be like human being, which was shown in Hollywood pictures like Terminator. Okay, the robots and something which were look like human, that was not possible at that time due to the non-advancement in technology. But this movement actually given birth to computer engineering and many type of computers like a microcontroller based computer, what we call as embedded technology, microprocessor based computer, what we call as computer science and engineering or computer technology, they come into picture. Processors come into picture, IC chips come into picture. All this happens because scientists started to think that it is possible to create an electronic brain. So every IC is nothing but an electronic brain, small electronic brain. But it goes on. By still 1971-73, the AI got quite a good, what you can say, hype in the technology field. But by 73, in early 60s, they start to felt that it is not possible right now, and so many of the companies and government stop funding the AI projects. So for next around 10 years something, 19 up to 1980, since 71 to 73 to 80, almost all research in AI was either stopped or gone in hibernation. Okay, and so that era is also sometimes called as artificial intelligence winter or AI winter. So many of them not actually come up with the things. So when this AI winter happened, everything was gone when the Japanese people in 1973 something, when yeah, the western part of the world was having the AI winter, the Japanese people they start working on this thing, and they first come up with the artificial intelligence programming language project, which they call as a prologue, and they first created the electronic health management system, EHM, health management system. Okay, and the prologue was used, clauses, text, knowledge representation, reasoning, everything was used. That got good success because many symptoms. Based on the symptoms and other things, the program successfully given the medicine on its own to the patients, and likewise. So Japanese then started making the boom of it, and for next around 10 years, means up to early 90s. Okay, from 80 to 90s, AI once again started to get, what can you say, advanced. But in early 90s, once again, the companies found that it is very difficult to pass the Alan Turing test, where the machine can behave 100%ly like a human being. So it is impossible. For example, if you are having, say, a plane, this example is given in Wikipedia argument. Uh, if I am defining a plane, that plane must have to fly. Okay, it must not have to imitate any bird. Yeah. So exactly imitate any bird. So then we can say it is a plane. Yeah, aeroplane. So in the same way, if a machine can imitate some behavior of human being, we can call it as a robot. For example, a robot arm of a crane is a mechanical robot. It imitates the arm of the human being. But now if you add the intelligence into it, and then that arm can pick the things. Okay, and how you can add the intelligence using sensors. So OWS and wireless sensor networks you require there. A processing unit means a computer at the end as a brain and something, and you can go on doing programming, and it may happen. So that's possible, but the arm like a human being, 100% working like a human being arm is impossible till even till, because we are not having our hardware advanced enough till date. But due to advancement in this, and likewise, they it become possible. But in 90s it weren't, and so the Japanese government also stopped funding those projects, and many other east part of the world also stopped funding the projects. So it AI actually gone into some type of, what you can say, hibernations once again for almost till the start of 21st century. Because before the 21st century, due to the emerge in these web internet technologies, specifically web technologies, and likewise, the scientists started to work on the data centric processing, and they come up with some machine learning models, regression, and likewise, and they successfully deployed it in the commerce sites like Amazon, Flipkarts. These sites are there. So such type of e-commerce sites, they successfully employed it, and that once again gives boost to the artificial intelligence, because artificial intelligence is data centric processing. Okay, you have the data. Based on data, you are doing all the processing, you are designing the process, and likewise, and AI once again got the boom uh, from the start of 21st century, or at the end of 20th century. So when it started, say, Mummy, it started like exponential growth. So now AI, the automation, basically the automation, and once again, due to this quad core or what is a multi-core processors, due to the graphical processor, processing unit, or parallel processing, distributed computing, and likewise, it become possible to think for like AI. For example, let's say, suppose movement of this hand. So I just want to eat something, and I have to put that meal into my mouth. As per the mathematics calculations, there are 60,000 possibilities that the things, whatever I pick by my hand, will go to my mouth, and only one possibility is correct. मतलब 60,000 पॉसिबिलिटीज है. मैं खाने की जगह कहीं पर भी उसको ये कर सकता हूँ. So out of that, so you know that is, if I have the 60,000 calculations to do, I require a very what you can say, capacitive processor, and we are still not having that capacity processor, because the present GPU is capable to do only 5,000 calculation parallelly. We are saying 60,000. You can think about our brain capacity. Our brain can do lot more than 60,000. Okay, multitasking. If you go with the different tasks, right now I am giving the lecture. At the same time, I am doing some what you can say hand gestures. I'm giving some expression of my face, and likewise at the same time some thinking about what to do next after the lecture. All those are going on here. Okay, so all these things means we are, and there are too many possibilities. So our brain is very capable than any supercomputer. The problem is only we are having the biological material which can't stand that strain for a longer time. While the machines won't have any biological material, it is purely silicon and something. So it is not say, and it can stand that strain for a very long time than a human being. So if by chance in future we get the machine perfect like a human being as per the Turing test, Alan Turing test, it may happen that almost everything, for everything we will have the machine, a machine which if we touch at a one place we will say why you touch me here, like that. Okay, a machine which if you try to hit will try to protect itself, a machine whom if you order that I want some meal, it will create the meal according to your taste buds. Okay, and so you will like that meal and you will eat correctly. A machine, a robot cooker, just consider, is aware of your health condition and cooking only those things which are what you can say good for your health, but at the same time keeping the awareness of your taste buds and likewise. So such things are possible if you are using sensors and likewise things in the machineries. In around 2008 2012, uh, scientists from MIT USA, actually some students and some teachers there, they combiningly work on artificial nodes. नाक होता ना, वो कृत्रिम तरीके से उन्होंने देखे, which is capable to smell around 70 type of drugs. ये तो वो ड्रग्स को स्मेल करके आइडेंटिफाई करता है, जस्ट लाइक अ डॉग. I call these are the EDOC project or ENOS project, and that project is operative in the one of the military air base of US government, but because that was funded by this military DARPA, what we call Defense Research Organization of the US government, and it is still operative, and maybe by next 10 years or something it will become completely operative. So in every station you may get such type of notes. Yeah. So with this I am stopping for today's lecture, that we discussed the history of artificial intelligence, and we also have seen what is the Turing problem or Turing machine Turing test. Turing test is the imitation test. It's also called as imitation game test, where a machine try to imitate the human behavior, or machine try to think like a human behavior. Okay, so if the machine thinks 100% like a human behavior and also imitate the human behavior, we can call it as a artificially intelligent machine. This is the thing. Now, if you have any questions, queries, or any type of what you can say doubts, you are free to ask. Yes. So just going to take attendance of those people who are seeing, not giving any attention. For example, when we go through the WebEx, generally the people who simply log in and minimize the window or not giving the attendance, not listening to it, they are marked with the exclamatory marks. Okay, so now Sanket and Aditi started giving attention thing here. Mariam, Arlene Mariam is there.
Yeah.
She, okay. Aman Nalban, then Aniket Jagtap. These two are simply login and they are not giving any attention to the lecture or something like this. Then you are in Ashutosh Raut, Kumar Nikat, this Devashri Bhosle, Kishan Singh, Nikat, I think. So okay, I'm not that what do you say thing, but you should have to be present in a lecture and must have to give the attention. What we will do that after the end of every unit, we will take one or what you can say taste on the unit apart from your regular Cs and TAs to know how much you understood from the particular teaching, okay, in your Google Classroom. As I will set a Google form there, and you simply have to put all your you have to answer them and you will get result at what you can say as soon as you submit the Google form. So thank you very much, guys, for attending the lectures very sincerely. And if you have not attended the lecture very sincerely, you may get what you can say your result affected by that because it is quite difficult to answer the questions of artificial intelligence without attending it seriously. Okay. Thank you very much, and I'll take off now. So I'm stopping the sharing. I will
Thank
upload
you, sir.
I will upload the book and the notes of these things as soon as I get time. Say maybe on the Sunday because on working day I usually too busy to do these other small activities. So for that purpose, I'm literally sorry because I've been busy with many other things. Thank you. I'm ending the session now.